Hey, welcome back to Night Owl Mogwai Talk, keeping you up on all the latest Mogwai news. Or at least the ones I want to talk about. It's Gizmo. It's always Gizmo, right? F-Stripe. No, this time I want to talk about Secrets of the Mogwai. Appeared on Max. HBO Max is no longer, and now it's just Max. I'm going to call it HBO Max until like 2025, so sorry. But it's on Max, and then every Thursday there'll be 2 new episodes. Anyways, come along for a ride. We'll watch this first couple episodes, or talk about these first 2 episodes, and then decide if we want to go any further with investigating Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai. All right, first episode. Before I get started, this is a review by an adult, LOL, for adults. So if you're a child and you're watching this, you should probably know already, don't watch this. Secondly, this is all spoilers. So if you're a person who's like, why are you spoiling this for me? This is an extended discussion of these episodes, and it's nothing but spoilers and lots of silly grown-up talk. So you've been warned, I guess, is what I'm supposed to say. I don't know. Okay, so the show starts off and we got like a literal bird's eye view. We see a hawk flying in over this kind of like hidden, secluded mountainous area. And there's kind of a little dugout, Shangri-La. It's a real Bob Ross kind of thing. Yeah, and then we'll just stick a little happy green butthole right here. So the hawk flies into the little black hole here. Let's call it a belly button instead of a butthole, but you can see what it is. And then inside there we see the Mogwai village, and it's a real Ewok village kind of deal. You know, they're in there singing their songs, and they're happy, and they're clearly high. But there's all sorts of riches and wealth going on, and it's kind of a perfect idealized place to live, you know. So as soon as we kind of get the vibe that this is a sweet, happy, wonderful place to be, the hawk swoops in and grabs one of the Mogwai and pulls him out, and the two of them have this big aerial battle, and they're duking it out in the sky. And eventually the Mogwai breaks free of the bird and ends up in a broken part of a tree that then breaks off and falls into a river. So we've seen the baby Moses in the basket bit before, right? Like, you know, he's going to be taken on an adventure that the universe puts him on. He has no control over his destiny. Except this time, Moses is floating in a sea of acid gangbangs. Like, the Mogwai does not want to get out of this boat at all for fear of all sorts of pain and, you know, give birth to who knows how many other little siblings. So he stays in the boat for days and nights, avoiding any rain or anything. And after about 2 or 3 days of being out on the sea, he washes up on the shore next to a circus. Of course, the circus are run by like mean, greedy jerks who are happy to have like a new cat dog as their main attraction for their failing circus. And that's where we go fade to black and we go show intro. Nothing real spectacular or memorable with the show intro. I've seen things like it before. I barely even remember it now, and I watched it 3 different times, so yeah, I don't know. Then we start with the title card, Shanghai 1920. We meet the Wing family. Sam is the son, his mom is a doctor, his dad is like the assistant to the mom. They appear to be running some sort of family medical business, kind of like an urgent care or something. So they're mixing up herbs and trying to make medicines and stuff. In back lives Grandpa in the back room. He's like this old crazy coot adventurer who's just full of wild stories, and he's fun to hang out with, and Sam likes him, but he's also kind of half afraid of him because he seems to be off his rocker. He's voiced by James Hong. If you know James Hong, right away you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it gets to a point where Mom needs to send Sam to the market, and Grandpa wants to go with. And Grandpa is nothing but trouble. And the mom warns him, look, if Grandpa starts talking about adventures or whatever, you just immediately come home because this dude is going to get you into trouble. And Sam seems to be a good boy who's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But when Grandpa gives Sam his adventure box, Sam's immediately on board with that. So it seems like there's a little bit of wild side to Sam. On a side note, you'll notice the adventure box on his back there is the same box that they keep the Mogwai in the original. Also, if you figure that this is Shanghai 1920 and Sam is like 10 years old, you got to figure that there's a good chance Sam is going to grow up to be this fella here. So Grandpa and Sam go off out on the street, and Grandpa immediately says, let's go to the cheaper market so we have some money left over so we can go to the circus. And who, of course, is the star attraction at the circus? So the cat dog is out there dancing and putting on his little 2-step, and it's kind of cute. The Grandpa recognizes that this Mogwai is not a cat dog. And he spins a yarn to Sam about how the Mogwai had previously gotten loose, and then they, turned into someone fed them after midnight, and they turned green, and then they got wet, and the water everywhere. And he explains the huge responsibility of the Mogwai, and how if they fall into the wrong hands, they're basically, like a weapon of war. And at one point, the Mogwai had almost destroyed everything. So him seeing one kind of freaks him out. And he's like, we need to get that Mogwai and get it back to its, I think it's the Valley of Jade, or is it the Jade Valley? Valley of Jade, let's call it that until I find differently. So the little kid's like, okay, cool, I'll help you steal this thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, him being a good boy is pretty questionable. But, yeah, he's out here. He's down to ride. So they sneak around back, and they're going to free this Mogwai from this circus prison he's living in. So there ends up being kind of this Mexican standoff between the street children, who are sort of silly and wacky, and then the Sam and his grandpa, who are pure of heart, and then the evil circus folk, and shenanigans ensue. And at some point, Sam gets alone with the Mogwai, and the Mogwai explains to him that his name is Gizmo. I'll get to that. So, you know what? I'll get to it now, dang it. That's just stupid. The whole thing is, Gizmo is named Gizmo because he was purchased for his son by Rand Peltzer. Randall Peltzer is an inventor. So in his little bit of alone time with Gizmo before passing him on to his son for Christmas, discovers his name is Gizmo, or calls him Gizmo. And Rand even says, I've been calling him Gizmo. He seems to like it. I understand why they did this for the show, that they made his name Gizmo way earlier, because what else are you going to call him for the series of the show? You need to be able to call him Gizmo so you can sell your Gizmo merchandise and people recognize that, oh, this is the character we know and everything. But at the same time, it's just kind of stupid. Regardless, so I'm not happy with him being Gizmo that early, but, we understand it's a function of storytelling. But eventually Sam and Gizmo and Grandpa all get away from the wild outbreak of craziness that happens with everybody scrambling trying to secure this Mogwai, and they escape back to Sam's home. And they bring the Mogwai in and introduce it to his parents. And the parents are kind of like, what in the hell is this? But they're immediately attracted to it too. See, there's this thing with the Mogwai. In this in this cartoon especially, they're trying to make it seem like the Mogwai is kind of the ring in Lord of the Rings. It's a power that people wish to possess, but it also has this allure to it, like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Everyone who sees a Mogwai kind of falls in love with it, and their eyes get real big, and they want one. So only the right, pure of heart people can actually possess one, because otherwise they'll do bad with it. That's why I said there's a Lord of the Rings vibe to a lot of the underlying bit of this. But once they introduce Gizmo to the parents, and the parents are like, wow, and Grandpa's like, see, isn't that cool? They have the Mogwai in their custody for approximately 10 minutes, and they spill a carafe of water on it. Are you kidding me? You had 2 jobs. 2. How hard is this? So, of course, we have to see Gizmo go through the pain of childbirth several times, and he shoots out 4 or 5 little tribbles all over this room they're hanging out in. They put them in a little box, and we understand that this show, within 1 episode, has already pretty much done a soft reboot of the Gremlins concept. We have the family unit together, and they have possession of a Mogwai who's sort of good by nature, but that Mogwai has gotten wet, and the Mogwais it's reproduced are not good by nature. So they did a good job of getting through the pipe laying as fast as possible in 1 episode. 1 or 2 little Easter eggs here or there, not bad. Before the show completely ends, we go back to the street urchin girl, the one that was trying to steal the Mogwai. And we see her conversing with her evil emperor from Star Wars type villain boss guy. And he explains to her, you owe me a debt and you're under my thumb for that. The boss is this guy, Riley Green, and he's chewing up the scenery. I don't know if a voice actor can do that, but if you can, he is. It's unbelievable how big his performance is. It's kind of great. He's played by Matthew Rhys. I don't know if you know him. He was in The Americans. That's where I know him from. I think he's also Perry Mason on HBO, so he probably has some sort of overall deal with HBO right now. But he's great in this. I didn't know. You couldn't even tell it was him at all. So he's just chewing up the scenery, big Shakespearean performance for his villain. So as he's explaining to the little girl, I own you, and you and I together are going to get this, gremlin, and we're going to do evil things with it, you can see the hint of green magic in his eyes. There's a lot of green in this show. His name is Riley Green. There's the Jade Valley, the Mogwais, when they turn bad, they turn green. I think that's what they're getting at. But yeah, there's a real heavy like green for bad, maybe green for envy. I don't know. But yeah, the evil magic appears to have a green tint to it. So overall, I liked the first episode. I thought it was, it was good. What do I want from a Gremlins cartoon show? Something about seeing the live-action portrayal of something I only know as animation feels bigger, but when something is live-action and it becomes cartoon, it feels smaller. I don't know. One of the things in it also is there's clear-cut commercial breaks. Like normally when you write a half-hour story, you're going to have to go to little act breaks to kind of give pacing. But this has like hard cuts. You can tell commercials are going to be in. At first I thought that was for the HBO, for the Max users who had the advertising tier. But no, there's so many in there. I looked. It's going to be on Cartoon Network sometime down the road, the nighttime block, whatever that's called. Not Adult Swim, but the other one. So I'm impressed by it. This first episode had to carry a lot of weight with just telling the story and getting things set up. But, in a half hour to get a soft reboot of the entire Gremlins franchise, it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, if you've seen this show, let me know in the comments below if you like it, if you don't like it, if I just annoyed the hell out of you with my explanation of things. That seems to be an answer I get a lot. But otherwise, you can watch this video right here of me watching episode 2, and that will be the decider if we watch any more beyond that. So it's real cliffhanger, okay? All right. I love it.